We have here a demonstration on how to get rid of warts by a chemical method. First of all, there's a sheet called Warts, which it goes into everything you want to know and more about warts, and on the back side it gets into the most common treatment that's used, which is the acid treatment. The acid treatment is the most effective. It takes about 12 weeks to work on a lot of warts. In a minute we're going to show you a wart, and we're going to demonstrate to this individual how to get rid of this particular wart. This is a wart that's one of the more difficult warts. First of all, it's a wart that's next to the thumb. This wart happens to have been treated in the past with liquid nitrogen in its back, which is not uncommon. Actually, any method used to treat warts, there can be failure and warts can return. So what we're showing you today is not foolproof, but it works most of the time, and that's why it's one of my favorite treatments, because it works so well. This wart also poses a problem because it's right next to his thumbnail. He's got a very nice looking thumbnail and he'd like to keep it that way. If this area were cut off using a scalpel after local anesthetic, he would probably get a very jagged, erratic thumbnail. So here's what we're going to do. We're not going to not use the scalpel, but instead we're going to use a medicine called trichloroacetic acid with lactic acid added. And what you do is paint the wart with this medicine. It has to be handmade by the drugstore. We've added a little something to make it turn white so that it shows a little bit better. The medicine that you actually get doesn't turn white like this, but in this case we want it to. Then you put a piece of duct tape over it. What the duct tape does is it seals the medicine into the wart. This duct tape is put on at night, and the next morning take off the duct tape if it's not too sticky. Hey, great, it came off. After about a week or so, the wart will become soft, and there's a scalpel you get, and the scalpel is used to trim off the dead wart. You'll begin to see that some of the wart's either dead or soft, and it comes off quite easily. As time goes by, this wart will begin to reduce in size, and you'll get down to a point where there's little or no wart left. This usually takes about 12 weeks. If for some reason around 12 weeks it's not gone, you should give a call. Some warts are stubborn, and as I said, not all warts disappear entirely. Sometimes it takes several different ways of treating warts. So this method is the one that's demonstrated that demonstrates the trichloroacetic acid lactic acid method. Again, the medicine has to be made up. There's nothing that you can buy already made up. You have to go to a drugstore that will mix medicines. Drugstores like Kroger's, CVS, Eckert's. Eckert's is no longer in business. Maybe that's why they are not in business, because they would mix things up. But usually what we call the mom and pop drugstores, not the chain drugstores, are the ones that can actually mix up the medicine compound appropriately. We keep a list of the various drugstores that report that they mix up the medicine, and we check and see how they're doing with their mixtures. If you have questions, you call. If there are problems along the way, you call. If there are complications, you call. Call the number that's listed on the sheet, and we'll be glad to help you. Okay, I've written the prescription for the trichloroacetic acid and the lactic acid. We really don't care what drugstore you go to. It's just as long as you find the medicine. Sometimes people call up a month later and say, I couldn't find that drugstore. Well, we've got it listed on the sheet, or call us as soon as you run into problems. The other thing is that the medicine is used twice a day. Do you have to use the duct tape twice a day? No. Once a day is fine, but I will say the more often you use the duct tape, the better off you are, because the duct tape is what helps the medicine to be absorbed. After a while, you may find the medicine and the duct tape together are a little too irritating, so sometimes as the wart treatment progresses and you're improving, you can actually leave the duct tape off and just do the trimming. Also, the more trimming you do, the better off. Some people are worried if they draw a little blood. No, that's good. That means you're getting down to the supply, the blood supply of the warts. These warts don't just grow, they have to tap into the blood supply. People refer to warts as seed warts, and they think that the black seed-like things they see in the wart is a seed. It's not. It's the blood supply. Good luck to you. If you have questions, call us.